Today, at this very moment, soon, we're going to use our active and passive frames to defend, create space, and escape from both the mount and back mount positions. What you're about to witness will explain to you how we use our frames to create areas of space to prohibit our opponent from advancing and create space where we can work to advance to a more combative position. All right, so we've gotten mounted, which is probably the second worst position you can be in a fight. So as I explained in the other videos, you must give this person the respect that they deserve for obtaining a position where they not only bypass all your defenses, they got from on side of you to on top of you. And now in a position where they can do a great deal of damage. Now, as a bit of combat philosophy, all of fighting is creating or reducing space. So what I need first is to reduce the space that my opponent has in front of me. If I'm just here and he wants to punch me, there's no space in between me and his hands or his elbows to hurt. So one of the first things I'm going to do is just figure out whoever it is to get something close. Right? So now I at least have something blocking or making space between. Right? If we're in a fight situation. If it's more like a grappling competition, I need to make space in the hips. His hips are what are controlling me. The hands and the knees are just kind of like these extra things. So I always focus on what I can control and where I can get in. So again, coming inside. And my escape is pretty much the same regardless of the situation. I know I cannot be completely safe in my escape. That's the price I've got to pay. So I'm always making little micro movements with my hips, which are, in essence, a form of a frame, right? Because his weight's on them, I can manipulate his weight a little bit. Now, as a smaller guy, you're not going to see me do the Upa escape or bridge and roll. It's usually just not an option for me. I also don't have a terribly good bridge, so I work at what I'm good at. I'll come in here and block. If he's punching at me, I'm moving, and I'm trying to just get his hands on the ground where I can scoot back and frame inside. In which case, I've got to make a decision, right? I'm going to frame it here, which means I'm going to turn, and I can block this part of my head with my hand and bring this in front. Will it block everything? No. Right? But will it block, is it better than nothing? Absolutely. So my hand cups, very similar to the side control frame with the inside arm, blocking the hips. If he stays low on me, right, it just prevents him from moving up on me. Now, if it's in a much more sports situation, I'm going to put two frames, one across his hips, one here. And these are, even though they look passive, they're going to be pretty active because very rarely is someone just sitting here. Even if he's just looking to punch, he's going to be moving with the hips. So I'm going to frame on that. And if he's looking to attack me, he has to advance up. So I have to keep him from doing that. Now, we're going to assume he's being pretty heavy here. He's dropped in. And the feet are inside. I'm going to have to wedge his feet apart and now begin to build the frame here. Because I'm smaller, usually my knee can come underneath their instep. Right? If he's heavy with his foot, keep it down. I'm going to keep pushing till I get it across and grab. Pulling that in and sort of putting that foot in jail. It's been bad and now it's going away. Now my framing is going to do a little less with the hips and more of the moving up. If I just stay here, he can punch that knee up. This one? Yeah. And past that quarter guard I got and then put the knee back down. And then I'm mounted again. That sucks. Right? So once I'm here, I'll flare my elbow out a little bit. So now when he wants to drive forward, it stops it. He cannot teleport through. And I try my best to make sure there's like a straight line to my shoulder and it's not out. Because then he might push my elbow up, which kills it. You can climb over the quarter mountain and everything else. I'm pinching hard here. I'm real careful not to turn sideways because then he'll start to look for chokes, like Darce chokes. Not that choke, but it's okay. You're just hired to look pretty. Just stay there. So I'm going to frame out now. I'm going to pull my leg out, and if I had nothing here, it would just go. But my frame prevents his leg from moving and I can pull it out. Now at this point, I look for an active frame or an underhook here, and I'll just shrimp out as quick as I can to get on my side, blocking. If I really need to get back to full guard, this arm is what's going to prevent his leg from coming in by making a frame, connect, I can bridge, get back. If not, maybe I'm happy being here in side control. Maybe this is where I prefer to fight. I can come in regular side control or half guard or like a knee shield, or being an active frame with this. I can come in and make space here, looking to attack or do whatever. So now continuing, we're going to see how we're using our frames as part of our system escaping the back mount. I like to fall with my head touching the ground. Sometimes I'm not always available if he's stronger, so maybe he pulls me to this side. Knowing that his head blocks my head from the ground, my shoulder can't get there. So, we're going to look at just with the hooks, because escaping with the body triangle is its own situation. What I need to do is start controlling the inside real estate, which Bianchi's dominating with his legs, which means I make a little hook, an active frame. Now, if he's here and you just like curl your calves, see, it's going to kill it. So I have to be actively engaged or I can slide out, right? I'm going to bring this in, kick, and I can slide out, frame off. While I'm doing this, my top, even though it looks like a passive frame, it has to be fairly active because he can squeeze his thighs and kill it. So I want to push that and use that energy to move my hips and then begin to look to escape. That's pretty much an ideal situation. High level people, you're never really going to get that clean escape to side control. There's always going to be some sort of intermediary scramble. One other thing we can do with our frame, he's pulled me down to the side. I'm inside, hand control, all that stuff. I'm just assuming for the purpose of this video, that's not what we're going to do. I'm going to come inside here and start turning. Right? Even if he keeps his foot here sticky, it's fairly easy to beat that. But what's the problem we all know here? If I come in here like this, he steps right to mount. And all I did was exchange one bad situation for another. And that should never be our objective. I didn't really escape anything. All right, mount maybe isn't as bad as back mount. But, I don't change jumping off a bridge to running into a building. So, this little active frame, the hook that I'm going to put in, is going to be real instrumental to stopping that. I come in here, and so now if he tries to step over, like he feels it's coming, I can lift it up, I can elevate. While I'm doing that, I'm looking. Then I can hand out, one of my favorite transitions here, looking for my heel hook, or knee bars, or whatever else comes along. Please remember to, one, only do this under the supervision of Josh, because no one else will ever teach you correctly. And two, to do it over and over and over again. Practice makes perfect. Perfect practice makes for perfect execution. We will never hit perfect, but that's the goal we should always strive for.